Casual, where today we are going to be going over our Week 10 power rankings for the 2024 NFL season. And before we get into this video, as always, please make sure to hit the subscribe button as it helps this channel a lot. And without further ado, let's get into this video. The first set of teams we have is the Patriots at 32, the Titans at 31, the Panthers at 30, the Raiders at 29, the Saints at 28, the Browns at 27, and the Giants at 26. The bottom three, Panthers, Titans, and Patriots, honestly, they were kind of in their own little group. I decided to put the Titans over the Patriots as they beat them, and then I put the Panthers just above those two as they beat a better team than the Titans beat. The Saints are a better team than the Patriots, so I just put them over them. However, I didn't want to put the Panthers above the Saints as one more. If the Panthers beat the Giants and the Saints lose, that might change. I don't even know who the Saints are playing. But if the Panthers win next week and then the Saints lose, that will probably change. But right now, I just thought the Panthers just haven't been good enough. It's one win. I didn't want to overreact too much. And then at 29, I have the Raiders, Browns at 27, Giants at 26. Giants kind of impressed me a little bit. They put a lot more points against the Commanders than I thought. The Raiders just didn't really do much against the Bengals, and then the Browns didn't really do much either against the Chargers, but the Browns had a closer game than the Raiders did, so I gave them the spot above, and they were just ranked higher in general. And this is kind of like a reset week as the trade deadline just happened. So there's gonna be a lot of movement, not big movement, but a lot of teams moving. Next group we have is the Dolphins at 25, the Jags at 24, Colts at 23, Cowboys at 22, the Jets at 21, Broncos at 20, and Bears at 19. The Dolphins at 25, yeah, they lost to the Bills as well as the Jags losing to the Eagles. However, they were both very competitive losses, and I thought they're just overall throughout the season, especially with Tua being back, they've played better than 26 through 32. And I just gave the Jags the spot above the Dolphins as they lost to the better team in the Eagles. And then the next set of teams is the Jets, Cowboys, and Colts. The Colts just haven't looked good. Their offense hasn't really, but their defense has definitely improved as they're getting their guys healthy like Buckner and Grover Stewart. I just thought the Cowboys should be slightly above them. They can be flipped. I just think the Cowboys have looked, at least, well, overall they are a better team, and I think they've looked slightly better than the Colts, not by much. That definitely will change without Dak Prescott. And then the Jets, who impressed me in their win over the Texans, I thought deserved to get a big boost here. However, I didn't want to put them over teams like the Bears and Broncos, who have done a little more often throughout the season. They've shown more flashes than the Jets have, and I gave the Bears the nod over the Broncos as they didn't lose as badly as the Broncos did. Next group is the Chargers at 18, the Seahawks at 17, the Rams at 16, the Cardinals at 15, and the Bucs at 14. Chargers at 18, they had a good win over the Browns. They've actually played very well. I know the Seahawks have kind of been in a little rough patch here, but I think I've just liked overall what I've seen from the Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals, and Bucs just a little bit more than the Chargers, but they're definitely in there. That's why they're in this next group and not in the same tier as like the Bears, Broncos, Jets, Cowboys, and Colts. However, when it came to ranking the Seahawks, Cardinals, and Rams, the Rams just beat the Seahawks, so I decided to put them over the Seahawks. And then the Cardinals had a very impressive win over the Bears, and they were ranked higher than the Rams and Seahawks. Well, not the Seahawks, but they were ranked higher than the Rams to begin with. And then the Bucs, despite the injuries, Baker Mayfield has still played good. They were in overtime versus the Chiefs. And again, if the rules are different or a coin toss went different, they might have been able to win that game versus the best team, the undefeated Chiefs. So I thought even despite the injuries, despite maybe suspect defense at times, the Bucs have still played great. Baker's played great. So I didn't want to penalize them as well for losing to the Chiefs either. However, I do think the teams above them deserve that spot above them. Speaking of those teams, we have the Bengals at 13, the Falcons at 12, the Steelers at 11, the Niners at 10, and the Texans at 9. Bengals finally catching a little bit of groove here. Joe Burrow threw 5 touchdowns. However, just like with the Jets, they played great. I just think the Steelers and the Falcons have shown a little bit more consistency throughout the season. And also the Steelers didn't even get a chance to play. And the Falcons had a great game over the Cowboys. So I thought they deserved the spot over the Bengals just through the more consistency they've shown. But the Bengals have looked great as of late. And then with the Texans at 9 and the Niners at 10, the Niners didn't get a chance to play. So I didn't want to move them down too. I didn't want to put the Falcons over the Niners and Steelers, who literally didn't play. And then the Texans, coming off of their loss to the Jets, they're still in it in that top 10. But their O-line has not looked great. It's definitely made C.J. Stroud have a much harder time. However, they should be getting Nico Collins back, so we'll see if the Texans' offense can bounce right back to what it was last year and at the beginning of this season. However, I didn't want to put them above the other teams as they have more recently played much better and overall played better too. And that is the Eagles at 8, the Packers at 7, the Commanders at 6, and the Vikings at 5. Eagles, you get A.J. Brown back, you get Devonta Smith, you have Saquon Barkley hurdling people backwards, and Jalen Hurts is playing great football. The defense is playing great. I don't know about playing great. The defense is playing good, and they've looked like a very, very good team. Again, with this more consistency, that's why I had the Packers and Commanders over them, even though you can maybe make an argument they've played better than those teams recently. However, I know the Packers won. I just think the Commanders have they had a better win. Well, actually, no, the Packers lost. I just didn't want to move them below the Eagles. Just through what they've done throughout this whole season, the Commanders have been great. Thought they deserved the spot over the Packers, Eagles, and Texans. But I didn't want to move them over the Vikings, as the Vikings looked good versus the Colts. They still won, so I didn't want to punish the Vikings too much for losing, but those teams can be flipped. However, I definitely didn't want to put any of these 4 teams over the next group of 4, which is the Bills at 4, the Ravens at 3, the Lions at 2, and the Chiefs at 1. Honestly, 1 and 2 can be flipped, and 3 and 4 can be flipped. I just gave the nod to the Chiefs at 1 because they've been at 1 this whole season. They haven't lost. You could make the argument that the Lions are the best team in football, and I would probably even maybe say that the Lions are the best team in football. I just think it's hard to knock the Chiefs down for not losing a game, no matter how they lose them or how they win them. However, it could be flipped easily. And then I think the next little group of this top 4 is the Ravens and Bills, which could be, again, flipped. I just think the Ravens, they blew out the Broncos, who were 19 going into this week, while the Bills barely beat the Dolphins, who were ranked 27th. So I gave the nod to the Ravens. These teams keep flipping. But that's honestly the 4 teams I could even see winning a Super Bowl. Maybe teams like the Vikings, Commanders, Packers, Eagles. But I don't think any of the. I think if you're to pick a Super Bowl winner, you got to pick one of these 4. But that will conclude our power rankings for Week 10 of the 2024 NFL season. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like. Make sure you comment. And also, as I said before, make sure you subscribe. It helps a lot. So please hit the subscribe button, especially if you want to be notified of more videos. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.